The chapel bell rang just once, and then silence. In the stark light of a stormy dusk, Sister Miriam collapsed at the pulpit mid-prayer, her knuckles white from gripping the scripture. No scream. Just the gasps of 20 orphan girls as their guardian, their ironclad matron, dropped like a marionette whose strings had been severed. Her eyes remained open, locked in some haunting truth that no sermon had prepared them for. One girl stepped forward, Anna, 13, too brave for her age. She touched Sister Miriam's hand. Cold. Stiff. Then, her voice cracked through the chapel. She knew something before she died. The silence that followed wasn't grief, it was fear. Not of death, but of the secret she took with her. For years, Sister Miriam had whispered that true success wasn't what the world taught. Now, with her sudden collapse, that riddle hung heavier than ever. What did she mean? Why did her last look seem like revelation or warning? Anna didn't cry. That's what the others noticed first. While Sister Miriam was carried away, her hands still clutched the broken rosary Anna had placed there. The girls whispered, afraid, unsure. But Anna stood still, her eyes locked on the pulpit like it still spoke. Sister Joanna, the youngest nun, touched Anna's shoulder and asked, "What did you feel when you touched her?" Anna's voice was soft but certain. She wasn't scared to die. She was scared to leave something unsaid. That sentence echoed through the hall. Even the sisters felt it. Sister Miriam had always spoken in riddles, always hinting at a deeper truth behind the scriptures. Now her death wasn't just sudden. It felt orchestrated, like the final act of a long performance. Anna clenched the rosary beads in her pocket. She knew she had to find what Sister Miriam never got to finish. And it started with the old room no one was allowed to enter. They called it the Room of Silence. For years, none of the girls dared go near it. Rumors swirled that it was where Sister Miriam talked to herself, sometimes in different tongues, that the door opened on its own at night, that it was once sealed with wax. Anna wasn't afraid. That night, after everyone had gone to bed, she slipped from her blanket, bare feet against the cold stone floor. The corridor stretched like a tunnel, lit only by moonlight. Each step toward that room felt heavier. The door loomed, thick and scarred with age. She pressed her hand to it. The air changed, cooler, thicker, as if time slowed. She turned the knob. It wasn't locked. Inside was darkness, and the sound of a ticking clock. Inside, dust danced in shafts of moonlight, spilling through a cracked window. Books lined the walls, not holy texts, but ones in languages Anna couldn't read. A painting of an old city hung crooked above a fireplace. In the center sat a single desk, and atop it, a journal with a red ribbon. Anna's breath caught. It had her name on it, Anna, to be read when the bell rings once. Her fingers trembled as she opened the first page. Sister Miriam's handwriting flowed with urgency. Success is not survival, Anna. It is surrender to truth. And truth burns. The rest of the page was torn out. Anna looked around. Who knew about this room? Why was her name written long before that night? Her heart raced. The bell hadn't just marked death. It had marked something beginning. Behind her, the door creaked shut. Not slammed, closed with intention. Anna turned sharply, breath held. No one was there. She looked back at the desk, and now beside the journal was something new. A photograph, faded, black and white, showing Sister Miriam as a young woman beside a man in military uniform. The man's face was crossed out with ink. On the back, scribbled in haste, "He chose science, I chose truth." Anna stared. Was this her father? Her grandfather? The questions tumbled faster than her heartbeats. The room wasn't a secret. It was a confession booth. And it was hers now. She slipped the photo and the journal under her nightgown and whispered a promise only the dust could hear. "I'll find it, I'll finish what you started." Anna sat on the chapel steps the next morning, journal hidden beneath her cloak, while Sister Joanna delivered a eulogy that didn't feel real. She lived a life of piety, silence and order, the nun said, voice cracking. But Anna knew silence wasn't Miriam's legacy. Her truth had weight, and it had chosen Anna. When the eulogy ended, a man stood by the grave. He wore no clerical robes. A tall figure in a dark overcoat with a pin on his collar, not religious but military. Anna watched him. He didn't cry. He didn't speak. But he stared at the casket like it had betrayed him. Sister Joanna whispered, "That's Colonel Reinhardt. He funded the orphanage but never visits. Until now." Anna clutched the photo tighter in her pocket. The man in the picture. Not dead. Watching. The bell had rung once, but its echo was only beginning. Later that night, Anna couldn't sleep. Her fingers traced the torn edge of the journal. Words were missing, but the message lingered. Success is surrender to truth. What did Sister Miriam mean? She slipped out again, this time into the archives, an off-limits room beneath the chapel. Cobwebs stretched across files, untouched for years. She found folders marked Project Dawn. Inside were blueprints, sealed letters and photos of children with numbers instead of names. Her breath quickened. Sister Miriam's name appeared, not as a nun, but as a lead subject. Then another, Reinhardt. The documents weren't religious. They were scientific. Experiments. Anna's hands trembled. The truth wasn't just hidden. It had been documented, classified, and buried in the very place they prayed. The next day, Anna was different. She sat through prayers but didn't hear them. She watched Sister Joanna but saw through her. After morning chores, she approached her. "Sister," Anna asked, "was Miriam always a nun?" The younger sister's hands stilled over the laundry. She looked away. "Why do you ask?" Anna answered plainly, "Because someone's lying." That shook Joanna. She knelt and whispered, "She took vows late in life. Before that, she worked with him, with Reinhardt. They were searching for something. Not God, not power, but something forbidden." Anna leaned closer. "And they found it." Joanna didn't answer. Her silence told Anna enough. The world outside called it success, progress, science. But Miriam had walked away. Joanna said one last thing before rising. "Some truths don't save us, they change us." Anna returned to the secret room that night. This time, she brought candles and stayed longer. The room whispered differently now. She noticed books bookmarked with dried flowers, maps marked with red circles, a list titled Children of Sequence. Her name was one of them. So were others, some marked erased. Anna felt the earth shift beneath her beliefs. She wasn't chosen to inherit Miriam's teachings. She was part of them. Designed? Watched? Protected? Or used? She found another torn journal entry that read, "Only Anna's mind can carry it forward. My guilt cannot." The words didn't feel like love. They felt like preparation. She closed the journal and stared at her reflection in the dusty window pane. "Who am I?" she whispered. But no voice answered. Only silence, that familiar, dreadful silence. At dawn, Anna crept into the chapel and sat beneath the stained glass window. She wasn't praying. She was remembering. Every smile from Sister Miriam, every riddle she used as comfort, now sounded like warning. And every time she was told she was special, it wasn't kindness. It was confirmation. She looked up at the window where a painted angel held a scroll that read, "The truth shall set you free." Anna laughed, bitter and soft. "Freedom's never free," she whispered. Footsteps approached. It was Colonel Reinhardt. "You found it, didn't you?" he said, standing beside her. She looked up, voice steady. "What did you make me for?" He didn't flinch. "Not made, preserved." His eyes softened, with something like regret. "And now, you're the last." Anna's heart clenched. She wasn't an orphan. She was a secret. The next morning, the orphanage changed. Guards appeared at the gates, claiming to be from the Department of Heritage. Papers were signed. Rooms were locked. Anna watched from the dormitory window as files from the archive were hauled into trucks, not by nuns but men in uniforms. Sister Joanna's face was pale. "They're taking everything," she said, wiping her out. Anna clenched her fists. "They can't erase truth." Joanna shook her head slowly. "But they can hide it. Again." Anna slipped away, rushing to the chapel where the stained glass glowed red. She knelt not to pray, but to memorize the words. Every symbol, every phrase Sister Miriam ever repeated. Somewhere in them was a cipher, a truth encoded in Scripture. Not for salvation, but for survival. Reinhardt summoned Anna to the main office, once Sister Miriam's quarters. He offered her tea. She refused. He sat with careful posture, his voice calm. "You read the journal. You've seen the files. Tell me what you think this was all for." Anna didn't blink. "Control, not success." He smiled, thin, cold. "Control is success, at least in this world." She leaned forward, eyes fierce. Sister Miriam didn't agree. Reinhardt sighed. "Miriam chose faith. I chose proof. But you're the bridge." His gaze softened just enough to unsettle her. "They'll come for you, Anna. Not because of what you know, but because of what you are." She stood up, her voice steady. "Then I won't run. I'll make them listen." Reinhardt said nothing. But as she left, he whispered, "That's exactly what Miriam said." Night fell, and Anna returned to the room of silence. Only this time, she wasn't alone. Another girl followed, Eliza, quiet and often overlooked. "I saw you go in before," she said softly. "I think I'm part of it too." Anna studied her, wide eyes, trembling voice, but something behind them burned. Eliza held up a pendant, identical to one Anna found in Miriam's drawer. "She visited my mother once," Eliza said. "Said I'd have a place here. She never came back." Anna opened the journal again. This time, she didn't read it alone. The two girls sat cross-legged, whispering through Miriam's words, tracing maps and symbols, piecing together a pattern. "They called us children of sequence," Anna whispered. Eliza nodded. "Then let's finish what they started. Together." The next day, Reinhardt was gone. So were the guards. But left behind was a letter sealed in wax, addressed to Anna. She opened it carefully. "They won't protect you," it read. "But I have. This place is yours now, if you stay." Sister Joanna watched her read, and said nothing. But her eyes held fear. "You'll need allies," she finally whispered. Anna didn't reply. Her thoughts were louder than the chapel bells. How many others were like her? How many knew they weren't just children? They were results. She returned to the attic, and found one last folder, marked failure logs. Every name crossed out but one. Anna. Scribbled beneath it in Miriam's handwriting. She must never be told, unless she asks. Anna whispered, "I'm asking now." That night, Anna stood in front of the mirror, candle flickering at her side. She wasn't looking at her face. She was searching for something underneath it. She whispered the words again. "Success is surrender to truth." But what if truth wasn't a gift? What if it was a weight? She opened her shirt slightly, revealing a faint mark near her collarbone, one she thought was a birthmark. But now, it matched the sigil in the journal. Not random. Chosen. Labeled. She closed her eyes and saw flashes, not memories but implants, visions, codes, tests. The truth hadn't just been hidden from her. It had been placed inside her. Anna didn't cry. She smiled, not with joy but with defiance. "They made me to obey," she said. "But she raised me to choose." Anna returned to the old journal with a different urgency. She'd translated fragments, symbols, even dreams. But one page had been skipped, stained, torn, folded. She opened it and found a letter addressed not to her, but to. The script read, "He begged me to keep it secret, to hide what he made from those who funded him. I did more than that. I stole it. I made her flesh and gave her soul what he could not." Anna froze. Her. The journal wasn't about knowledge. It was about creation. Miriam didn't just protect a truth. She had taken it, rewritten it. Anna flipped the page. A photo slipped out, a grainy ultrasound labeled Sequence 17, viable. Anna touched her stomach unconsciously. Was she born in a hospital or in a lab? Her hands shook. Not just chosen, engineered. Anna confronted Sister Joanna before dawn. "Was I born here?" she asked. Joanna hesitated too long. "You were delivered to us," she finally said. Anna pushed. "By who?" Joanna looked away. "By Miriam. But you weren't a baby." "Not exactly." Anna's breath caught. "What does that mean?" Joanna stepped closer, lowering her voice. "You weren't born, you were released." Anna recoiled as if struck. "Released from what?" Joanna whispered, "From Sequence Chamber 3. You weren't alone." Anna's world cracked. Miriam hadn't adopted her, she'd rescued her. From something made, not born. A process. A project. A prophecy? "Where are the others?" Anna demanded. Joanna's voice trembled. "Dead. Or hiding." Anna backed away, pulse roaring in her ears. Then, "I'm the last blueprint." Anna and Eliza met again that evening, but this time, not in secret. The room of silence had become a war room. Anna spread out documents, maps, codes. "They tried to erase us," she said, "but they left too many pieces." Eliza pointed at a name on a list. S19, Eliza 2. Her voice cracked. "I'm 1 too." The girls stared at each other, the weight of it setting in. Not friends. Not orphans. Not random. Anna said, "We weren't adopted, we were activated." The maps showed sites across Europe, dormant sites, failed trials, lost records. But one was circled in red, Sequence Origin, Vatican Deep Vault. Anna looked up. "That's where it began. That's where it ends." For the first time, Eliza didn't flinch. "Then we go there. For all of us." Sister Joanna entered the room uninvited, her face gray with something deeper than fear. Memory. "You can't go there," she said quietly. "The vault isn't a place, it's a seal. A threshold." Anna replied, "That's why we have to." Joanna shook her head. "That seal wasn't made to be broken. It was made to hold something in." Eliza said, "Like us?" Joanna's voice cracked. "No, something worse. You were built from it. You were made because of it." She pulled from her sleeve a key, ancient, blackened with age. "This opens the door beneath the chapel. The vault isn't in Rome. It's below us." The floor felt like it shifted. The secret hadn't been hidden across the sea. It had been under their feet, their prayers, their lives. All along. They descended that night. Anna, Eliza, and Sister Joanna, down a spiral staircase behind the altar, into a catacomb no one had spoken of for decades. Cold air rose from the stone like breath from a sleeping monster. The door at the bottom was massive, covered in Latin, lined with symbols that pulsed faintly as they neared. Joanna's hand trembled as she inserted the key. "If you pass through, you can't come back the same." Anna replied, "I never was the same to begin with." The door creaked open, revealing a chamber of glass pillars and suspended particles of light, like frozen time. At its center stood a sarcophagus with their symbol carved deep. Eliza whispered, "Is that the origin?" Joanna stepped back. "No. That's the warning." And the door closed behind them. The air inside the vault shimmered, like a memory refusing to settle. Anna stepped toward the sarcophagus. Each step echoed louder than the last. The light around it pulsed with her breath, as if it recognized her. It's alive, Eliza whispered, but Anna shook her head. It's aware. The lid bore an inscription in faded gold. Truth beyond success. Flesh beyond design. Sister Joanna fell to her knees. This is what we tried to bury, she said. Not evil, not divinity, just consequence. Anna placed her palm on the surface. It was warm. A surge ran through her chest, visions of a lab, machines humming, a child screaming into life, Sister Miriam weeping with guilt. I wasn't born, Anna whispered. I was unsealed. The vault hadn't been locked to protect the world. It was sealed to contain what she could become. Suddenly, the chamber trembled. Lights inside the glass pillars flickered violently. A low hum built into a high-pitched tone, unbearable, inhuman. The sarcophagus creaked, not from hinges but from resistance, like it was never meant to open again. Sister Joanna screamed, "Stop, you don't know what's inside." But Anna's hand held firm. The lid cracked slightly, releasing a gust of air older than language. Inside wasn't a body. It was a mirror, black, endless, pulsing. Anna stared into it and saw not herself, but versions of her, each one shaped by different choices. A soldier, a scientist, a ghost. It's not a tomb, Eliza said. It's a test. Anna looked back once. Miriam didn't fear death. She feared this. And she stepped into the reflection. The mirror swallowed her whole. Anna floated in silence. Not air. Not water. Memory. Around her, voices overlapped. Sister Miriam praying, Reinhardt commanding, children crying. Her own voice cried out, "What am I?" And then, a whisper, "You are what remains." She saw the sequence project from its inception. Men in suits, genetic splicing, moral lines blurred until erased. Miriam's betrayal, Peltor. Her rebellion. Her decision to save just one. Anatop. A flicker of emotion cut through the fog. Grief. Not for her lost origin, but for the ones who didn't survive. Her body began to burn, not in pain, but with light. The mirror was judging her, not her past, but her choice now. Then came the final question, not spoken but felt. Will you repeat the cycle, or end it? Anna didn't hesitate. End it. And everything exploded in light. Anna collapsed onto the vault floor, gasping. The mirror was gone. The sarcophagus empty. The chamber dimmed to stillness. Eliza rushed to her, but Anna sat upright on her own. Something had changed. Not in the room, in her. What happened? Eliza asked. Anna answered, I chose. Joanna trembled. What did you choose? Anna stood slowly. To end the design. No more sequences, no more trials. The sigil on her collarbone had faded, like it had served its purpose. We were made to be perfect, Anna said. But perfection erases choice. She turned to the others. Miriam didn't save me because I was successful. She saved me so I could fail and still matter. For the first time in her life, Anna felt like a person, not a project. As the girls ascended from the vault, dawn broke over the chapel. Light streamed through the broken stained glass, painting Anna's face in fractured color. She looked over the orphanage, now silent, now hers. What do we do now? Eliza asked. Anna replied, We live, freely. Joanna placed the ancient key in Anna's palm. The vault is closed, and it should remain so. Anna nodded. But deep down, she knew the truth wasn't locked low anymore. It was in them. Not for weaponry or worship, but for wisdom. As they stepped into the sun, Anna whispered one final promise to the wind, to Miriam, to herself. Please teach what you taught me. That real success is the right to choose who you are. And for the first time, the chapel bell rang twice. Weeks passed. The orphanage changed, not through walls or rules, but through breath. Anna taught the girls from Miriam's journals, not the science, but the soul behind it. She erased the language of perfection, replacing it with stories, questions, choices. You are not what made you, she said to them, but what you make from it. Eliza started painting, vivid shapes that no longer asked for approval. Others wrote songs, read books Miriam left behind. Sister Joanna smiled more, aged slower, as if hope itself softened her bones. Anna sat beneath the tree, where Miriam once read aloud. She gave us the truth, she whispered to herself. Not to carry, to release. The bell rang at noon now, not to mark duty, but to remind them they were still here. Still choosing. One afternoon, a letter arrived. No return address. Inside, a single note. They know you survived. They will come. Anna folded it carefully. She felt no fear, only clarity. Then let them come, she told Eliza. We aren't hiding anymore. The orphanage was no longer a sanctuary built on secrecy. It was becoming a beacon. Anna had burned the vault key, not out of rage, but closure. She understood now that the truth wasn't buried. It walked, breathed. It laughed with the girls at lunch. It cried when one scraped her knee. Miriam had left her a burden, but also a bridge. The world beyond might still be blind. But this place, this family, saw. And sometimes, that was enough to start a fire in the dark. Anna stood before the old mirror, the one Miriam once covered in linen. This time, she left it uncovered. Her reflection stared back, unmarked, unaltered, wholly her. She whispered, I forgive you. Not to Miriam, not to Reinhardt, but to the frightened child inside her who once begged to be normal. You were never meant to be normal, she said to her own gaze. You were meant to feel everything. Behind her, Eliza watched quietly. Do you think it's really over? She asked. Anna shook her head. Truth doesn't end. It evolves. They smiled, not because all was well, but because they were finally strong enough to face what wasn't. And in that mirror, for the first time, Anna saw no shadow, only light, shaped like her own soul. Anna began sending letters to other orphanages, schools, even scientists who once worked on the Sequence project. Not to accuse. To invite. Come see what became of your failure. One letter read. She teaches music now. Another. She paints sunsets. She's afraid of storms but sings during them. One reply came back. Just one. A crumpled postcard with shaky handwriting. You've done what we never could. You made them whole. It wasn't signed. Heidi. Anna pinned it on the chapel wall. Her girls read it every day. Not because they knew the writer, but because it reminded them scars were not secrets. They were survival stories written into skin. Stories that, when told, turned pain into purpose. On the anniversary of Miriam's death, Anna rang the bell herself. Once for mourning, twice for truth. A third time, for choice. The sound echoed through the valley, clear and soft, like forgiveness spoken aloud. The girls held candles. Sister Joanna read a passage not from scripture, but from Miriam's final, unfinished page. The soul is not a formula. It is the refusal to be calculated. Anna closed her eyes, breathed deeply, and smiled. Not because she had answers, but because the questions no longer scared her. Miriam had died holding on to something Anna now understood. Success was not what you build, but what you release when the world demands perfection. As the sun dipped behind the hills, Anna whispered, You didn't fail, Miriam, you let me begin. A year had passed. The orphanage no longer felt like an orphanage. It breathed like a home. The girls painted the halls in color, laughed loud enough to shake the walls once silenced by fear. Anna sat in the same room where she first touched Miriam's journal. Now the journals had multiplied, filled with stories, drawings, confessions, dreams. Each girl had written something. Each truth was different but real. Eliza stood at the doorway and said, You look like her when you read. Anna looked up. I feel like her when I listen. Because that's what Miriam had done best. Not preached, not controlled, but listened. And through that, she taught. Anna smiled as her hand hovered above the final blank page. She never wanted me to finish her story, she said. She wanted me to start mine. The chapel bell now rang every Sunday, not by tradition, but by choice. Anna stood before the congregation of children, not with sermons, but with silence that asked them to speak. One by one they shared stories about fear, joy, about being lost and found. A younger girl, barely 9, stood and said, I used to think I was broken because I didn't know where I came from. Now I think I'm beautiful, because I get to decide where I go. The room held its breath, then erupted in soft, teary applause. Anna watched them with a full heart. These weren't sequences. They were symphonies. Each child a note Miriam had set free in a world that once tried to orchestrate them. Now, they wrote their own rhythm. Loud, soft, perfect in their flaws. One quiet evening, Anna returned to the vault door. It had long been sealed, not with keys or stone, but with choice. She placed her hand on the cold surface, not to open it, but to honor it. The silence on the other side no longer haunted her. It reminded her that truth could be both gift and burden, that not everything locked away was evil. Some things were just too powerful to be rushed. She placed a flower in the keyhole and whispered, Thank you for letting me be unfinished. Behind her, Eliza watched and asked, Do you ever wonder what else was in there? Anna smiled. No, I wonder what's still in us. And together they turned away, not because they were done, but because they were finally ready to begin again. Anna eventually grew older, not with years, but with purpose. She didn't leave the orphanage. She expanded it. Others came, children who never belonged anywhere, caretakers with regrets, even a few scientists who had once walked away from sequence. No questions were asked at the gate. Only this, do you want to start again? And most said yes. Sister Joanna passed peacefully, surrounded by the very girls she once feared to protect. Anna buried her beside Miriam, beneath the tree that now bore blossoms year-round. She carved only 3 words into her headstone. She stayed anyway. And when Eliza asked why, Anna replied, Because that's the bravest thing a person can do. Stay, even when the world tries to unmake you. In the end, Anna sat with a girl much like herself, small, curious, too quiet. She handed her an old journal and said, Write what you feel, even if it doesn't make sense yet. The girl asked, Why does it matter? Anna looked into her eyes, gentle and unshaking. Because someone like you might read it one day, and remember who she is. As the sun set, the bell rang, not once, not twice, but freely. No meaning forced upon it. Just sound, alive in the air. Anna closed her eyes and smiled. Sister Miriam's voice echoed, not from the grave, but from within. Real success isn't being followed. It's being remembered by someone who chooses to begin. And so the story ended, exactly where it began, with a whisper passed forward.